Welcome to the Short Funk Podcast. I'm Tom Barbalet, and today, Genestealer cults. I talked early on in these Short Funk recordings associated with Games Workshop. The intellectual property of Games Workshop framed a certain part of my childhood, and it is something that I go back and dabble in periodically. When I say dabble here, I mean I buy miniatures and books. It's very rare that I'm able to even talk to other people associated with Games Workshop, but I do periodically, and I do enjoy talking about it when I get the chance. Recently, Games Workshop has released a set of rules, let's call it a faction, an army, of a footnote in a game that they produced 25 odd years ago. It relates to some intellectual property which some could claim came from H.R. Geiger, or H.R. Giger as he may be called, the now late, very dark lion artist who sketched things like the Killing Machine, where the bullets are actually little baby-like creatures. He had a very particular view associated with aliens, and his aliens became the movie franchise Aliens. And the Genestealers are based on that in some regard. I'm not sure how much of it is Giger, but it is very much like Giger. But the Genestealer cults are more interesting. Genestealer cults, the idea is that these aliens infect humans, and the humans go through generations as the aliens brood within their genetics, basically take over their genetics, to the point where after 4 generations, the offspring are alien babies. And the way in which that this is manifest through mining communities, through particular parts of the science fiction Warhammer 40,000 universe. It's all very dark, it's all very, I don't know how one would call it, it's just a cult, basically. But it's a cult of hive mind, of collective thought, of insect mind in some regard. And it was such a beautiful footnote 25 years ago that the reincarnation that Games Workshop has given to it now, I think has captivated a lot of people. And certainly in the online communities, you can see re-emergence of people, my generation, maybe some older, maybe some slightly younger, who all remember the early pictorials of the Genestealer cults back in, I guess, the late 1980s. Games Workshop's been sitting on this thing for a long time, and they've just now decided to release it officially as part of their Warhammer 40,000 universe, with new miniatures, new concepts, but a good amount of the historical art, which makes this thing so beautifully tangible once again. To be honest, I haven't purchased anything associated with this. I went on Games Workshop's website and ended up purchasing some metal soldiers that I used to purchase periodically. They're called Steel Legion, part of the Imperial Guard. They wear gas masks and probably First World War trench coats. They're a very particular view, and they're certainly something that when I lived in the UK, when I found myself around Games Workshop, I would go in and buy a box set of the Steel Legion with the view, well, there are 10 miniatures in the box set. I started painting some of them and then passed them on to my painter and occasional friend, no longer a Facebook friend, unfortunately, Fred Reed, who has painted a majority of my miniatures. I think I counted 891 miniatures that I took out of the UK, and I sold an army within the first year that I was in the US as a means of getting money. But the Games Workshop franchise pulls me back periodically to remind me of certain elements of my childhood that I've decided to continue on with in some regard. And it's quite amazing that a group of intellectual property, like just ideas, stuff, writing, has persisted for this length of time in a privately run, publicly owned, actually, company. Games Workshop is an anomaly in the world, and one which I don't mind going back into periodically to think about strange alien infecting races going through populations of miners, bringing on great vengeance. And also perhaps some of the imagery of Giger. Although he's no longer here, these ideas can still permeate through some random nerd element of popular conscious. Tom Barbalet in San Jose, signing out.